It's the naked truth. Raw and uncensored adult chat with the stars of Just for Fans as we get personal. Bedroom stories, sex tips, and more. Close the door, turn down the lights, and turn up the volume. It's time for the naked truth. And jazz hands!
Lord have mercy. Hello, Just for Fanners. If sex with 3 people is called a threesome and sex with 4 people is called a foursome, I guess now it's clear why I'm called handsome. This is The Naked Truth, the official Just for Fans podcast where nothing is off limits except my credit score. Wop wop. On this episode, true story. On this episode, we go deep and get down with our guests, Madame Margherite and Eddy Ceetee. I am your host, Alexander Rodriguez, queen of the podcast with my sidekick, director of events for Just for Fans, Mr. Anthony John. Hey, girl.
Hey, Al.
Al?
Hey, Al.
Oh, I think said Al. I'm like, I'm not an Al.
It's like a Nicki Minaj thing. Ow. Or is it Cardi?
Oh, yeah,
Who
you're
does
just
it?
like Nicki
I'm
Minaj.
so old. I don't know which one's which.
Hey, Anthony.
Yes.
Why do vegetarians give such good head?
Why is that?
Because they're used to eating nuts. That one was bad. Okay.
That was horrible.
I'm sorry. Hello to our audience on every major podcast platform. It was bad. You can also watch us on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire TV on the OutAt.tv app. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at JustForFansite. And whether you are a content creator or a fan, sign up for the award-winning JustFor.Fans site, setting the standard for connecting adult stars and their fans that also gives back to the community, FYI. Okay, let's formally introduce our guest. I am so excited. We're just going to lay it all out on the table. We are talking about fetishes, desires, fantasies. Madame Margherite, also known as an animal play monarch, is known for transforming people into glorious elite pets. She is also very politically and socially active in regards to issues that affect our underprivileged and marginalized communities. 2 main principles Madame holds in her household are eco-socialism and maroon leadership, which we're going to find out all about. She works hard to fight systematic inequality so that people can live more peaceful lives. She's also very business-oriented. She holds a position on the Dom-Com advisory board and is one of the key managers at Sanctuary Studios, the largest commercial dungeon in the world. It's Disneyland for the BDSM community. It really is. Please welcome Madame Margherite. Every time I say your name, I just want like a Margherite pizza. Like that's all I want. It's like delicious and sexy.
Glamour bear.
Glitter bear.
Glitter bear.
That glitter. I'm going to start a
bear.
Just for Fans glitter bear. And maybe I could be like a glitter bear elite pet. We're going to talk about that.
I would love having a glitter bear. Sure.
I'm not sure if I'm up for the training because I don't
just
even know
got
what
so
it entails.
excited.
Yeah, we're going to start. Also joining us is one of my favorite content creators on Just for Fans, Eddy Ceetee. Before becoming a porn star, Eddy described himself as an innocent, curious guy. Wow, that has changed. Working as a bartender and finishing college in Boston, for a while he considered becoming a middle school teacher. Believe it or not, we are so glad he turned to filming his sexcapades. He's got a heart as big as his ass. Please welcome Eddy Ceetee.
Hi, guys.
Okay, we're going to start off with a hot topic. I want you both to chime in. I love both of you are involved in somewhat of the fetish world in totally different arenas and understanding of what fetish is. But both being involved in the fetish world, if you have a fetish and someone you're dating that you're in love with or in a relationship or what have you will not indulge the fetish at all, is that enough reason to break up with someone?
I usually find that out before I start dating. I usually just lay everything out there.
Here, fill out this application.
Yeah, seriously. But how do you have that conversation? Because what I love about your content, it's really involved with like blindfolded, bent over, glory holes in the bathroom, on the dance floor. It's so erotically sexy because there's that whole stranger element.
Yes.
How do you bring that up on a first date, like over the movies? Like, pass the popcorn. P.S. I might go get.
I love
fucked in the
Jennifer
bathroom.
Aniston.
Yeah.
So
Well, a lot of my relationships start up as hookups. That's why I don't get the
interesting.
whole, let's date and wait to have sex. For me, that has never been the case. And like my longest relationship started out as me being ass up, blindfolded, and he didn't know what I look like. And he came in and like was fucking me, and then in the middle of it, like turns me over. We saw each other, connected, and it went from there.
only
Literally 2.5. We were together for 2.5 years, and that's
Wow.
how it started. Like that was our
That's
thing,
a
and
good
he knew what I
start.
was into.
That's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
really
yeah.
good
connection's
start.
a connection.
That's what it is. I've learned that I'm like at this point, and as I get older, I'm like I'm just gonna put everything out there. This is how I am. You don't like it, like we can just move on now instead of like revealing layers and layers, and then it's harder and harder to tell the person what you're into and all this stuff. So I'm like, this is who I am. This is what I do. This is what I like.
Yeah.
Yeah, take it away.
I mean, I'm full-time, lifestyle and professional in BDSM. And so, there are a lot of fetishes I'm into. So if one of my partners is not interested in one or two of the fetishes, that's okay because we have a lot of other things to do. And then also I have multiple dynamics. So if one is not satisfying something, I have, there's enough people in my life where it's not really that big of a deal. It's more of, if we connect, these are sorts of things that you could sort of, and sometimes people warm up to things. Sometimes people don't know what it's going to be like, and then they warm up to it. So
some trust involved there.
Well, and there's been so many articles that you've done and interviews. You've gotten a lot of press, and so I'm sure people already have an idea of what you're up to. Are people intimidated by approaching you?
Oh, I think so. I think so.
I'm a little intimidated. Madame is here.
I think so. Yeah. I've had some people tell me that they saw me a few times at one of my events and things like that, and then it takes them a long time to get in touch. So yeah, people are intimidated. So I really try to be as welcoming as possible, and I hope that it comes across that I create a safe space for people to sort of open up and explore these things. But I guess people are still nervous.
I read an article or an interview that you did, and I want to talk to you about this as well. The whole romance element of a relationship. With you, it's kind of like the sexual and the fetish kind of talk, that kind of started very early off for you. That I think what you kind of intimated is that romance was not a big important part for you. And we know that you were in a long-term relationship from being blindfolded and bent over, where it was sex, sex, sex first. Does romance play any part of your relationship or sex life now?
Well, for me, I don't know if I'm just jaded in a way, but I feel like during sex, I don't want any romance. I don't want kissing and cut it. I just want fuck. It's with the afterwards. That's my romance, the cuddling, the hanging out, that stuff. I get more romantic fulfillment from that instead of the fucking part. And that's what my ex kind of learned and understood, and that's why it was fine. We never had any jealousy issues or anything when I would do filming with people, and I would do that because he got to a point where he understood what meant more to me. So
what's his name and his
right. Yeah, you don't want him now. No, don't worry.
This turns into a blindfold. Did anyone notice? No.
Yeah. Right. I know now everything is anon going on the streets with masks. I'm wait. Yeah.
I don't ask questions.
The world is now your fetish. It's all about,
I say that all the time. I'm I'm so turned on every day walking down the street.
Just tell me what I think they just told me.
The whole glory hole thing. I was already ahead of it.
You're that's mine.
It's so funny. It's no kissing, no face-to-face contact. It's healthy. It's go ahead.
I'm my dreams came true. It's my real life now.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel my idea of romance is probably not anybody else's idea of romance. When I'm on really good terms with my pet, who likes to be degraded, telling him that he's a worthless idiot is, a gesture of affection because I'm comfortable enough to say that to him. You know what I mean? I don't just say random things like that. And, one of the other kinks I really like is findom. So instead of sending me a bouquet of flowers, send me some origami cash.
Oh, nice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just send me cash. You don't even have to fold it up.
That is so romantic.
Origami dollar bills. I'll save that shit forever.
And none of those swans.
Right.
Get those everywhere.
Give me one of those Chinese dragons. They make out of the money.
A finger puppet thing. One of those locks your fingers.
That's right. Make me a torture device out of Benjamins.
A long flowy skirt made out of hundreds.
It's getting warm in here.
She is turned on. It's funny because I insult people left and right, and nobody ever pays me to do that.
Those are security guards.
Well,
you can't do that.
And my parole officer. Be in this cup. You first. What is the allure that people have in wanting to be dominated? And from what I learned in this research, because this world, I've heard about it. We've all heard BDSM, but to really research it, it's so eye-opening because there's so many different facets. It's not one thing. And so there's different forms of domination, but at the root of it, what is that allure that somebody has in being dominated as well as being the dominator?
Well, I think that in most cases, because like you said, there are different ways to dominate people, but I think that overall, the thing that all my submissives and the people that submit to me have in common is that they want to relinquish control. Making decisions is incredibly pressuring for people. And, not everybody is confident in the decisions they make. Not everybody feels like they're a leader. They don't feel like they don't feel comfortable at the front of the line. And so, having people put their trust in me, first of all, that's really flattering. And that, it's really, it creates a deep bond, because they're putting their trust, they're trusting me with their bodies, their minds, their emotions, they're trusting me with their life, their privacy. Some of these people are very, very powerful people.
Yes.
That they cannot.
There's that dichotomy. There's that.
Yeah, they cannot show weakness, and a lot of people see submission as weakness, and so they have to pretend that they're alphas, but really all they want to do is live in a cage under my bed.
Oh.
It's funny because the idea and talking about fetishes is somewhat becoming more mainstream, and I know 50 Shades of Grey is just an embarrassment to the BDS community, but it's still putting that kind of language and that kind of understanding that there are some other sexual acts, and BDSM doesn't always include actual sex, but it's still having that kind of language out there. And so I think people are exploring it. We've seen storylines on TV shows that kind of explore that. Do you feel even that kind of representation, even though it's not the right kind of representation, do you think it does do some benefit?
I think that, it doesn't. I think in some ways it kind of hurts when representation don't point out things like consent and don't point out things like safety. One of the things that I really get upset about is sometimes I see, even in porn, I see people doing things really, really improperly, that if people did this in real life, they could possibly injure their partners, they could kill their partners. And, I think that in films and media, if they do something, that's for the cameras, that's fine, but they should also, make sure that they're being clear that BDSM is not abuse. If they send the message that it's abuse, then they're sending the message that they're condoning abuse, and
Probably
we're not
one of the
condoning
biggest
abuse.
misconceptions.
Yeah, and that's what hurts us, because that's what leads to systemic oppression. That's what leads to laws being put in place to take people's rights away. That's what leads to people being able to lose their kids for doing this sort of thing. And it creates a lot of problems. And so if it wasn't for that, I would feel a lot more comfortable. But in terms of doing it in a silly way or comedic way, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
I would talk about that kind of allure. For the allure of kind of that anonymous sex, where does that stem from? Was it something you were fascinated with in your childhood?
I honestly don't know. I remember it used to be with the whole I liked the DL type of guys.
Yeah.
So when I lived in Boston, I used to set up a glory hole in my house, and then I would get these closeted guys that have families and stuff like that who would just stop by, and I just build up this regular thing. And I feel like by them not seeing me, it kind of made it seem like it was okay for them to do it.
Oh, totally.
So so that's what fascinated me. And my whole thing is, I get turned on when guys don't know who I am. Where they don't know, where they're wondering.
Your ass is so recognizable. I mean, even Helen Keller is like, that's Eddy Ceetee.
Yeah, right.
Oh, you again?
Oh, it's you. Yeah, and I feel like for me, I don't know why I'm so turned on by guys not seeing me and being like, "Oh, you're hot," and them wondering if it's someone hot, attractive, not someone they know, someone they don't know. That's what turns me on, and I've realized that over time that it's them not knowing who I am is what turns me on.
Oh, that's hot.
And them
it is so hot.
and them kind of and just sensing I sensing them coming in nervous and just wondering, and that gets me off. I don't even have to come. Just that turns me on so much.
It is so hot. So my ex, for his birthday, we would set him up on a whole day of just taking all day. And it
so
was
hot.
I look forward to it so much every single year.
It's so
and
hot.
It was 8 years in a row that we did it. It was so hot to know that he was getting pleasure, I was watching it, and there was this whole kind of anonymous. Now, you were actually born in Lebanon.
I
You
was.
came to the U.S. at 10 years old. We know that the Lebanese culture can be very in the closet, so to speak.
Very,
It's like the Latino culture where there's that sense of machismo. Guys are having sex a lot, but they're just not talking about it, and God forbid anybody should find out about it.
Right.
I think like in Egypt, it's the same thing, and they took a survey, and it was like 90% of the men said that they were tops. Well, then who? I mean, come on, like then who's getting fucked around here, right? It's a bunch of tops with a camel.
They're all tourists. That camel ride was great.
Did you have that kind of upbringing, very
Oh,
conservative?
for sure. And like when I always knew I was gay, and like I didn't want to be gay, and I struggled a lot with it, and it just like made me. I got really depressed. I didn't want to be gay, and I would do these whole things where, like, I would do these little like ritual things where I would like jerk off, and right before I come, I think of a girl, and I'm like,
Oh God.
I think we
We
I
all-
know
yeah.
that I did that too.
Margaret Thatcher.
right, and
That's
then
a movie somewhere.
yeah,
Meryl
and then,
Streep.
it's crazy. And like the first time I ever had sex with a guy, I'm like, okay, I found a guy online. It was on the AIM chat room. I'm like, I drove 3 hours. I'm like, if I have sex with him
those days.
That is
once,
some devotion.
yeah, I'm
Those
like, if I have
days.
sex with him once, I'll hate it and never think
Oh
about
my
it again.
God.
Oh,
Gosh.
interesting.
Yeah, and he was like in his
Exactly.
40s. We had sex in a storage unit. Like he still lived with his mom or something. And I had to
That's
take
super
down
hot.
my like high school like parking pass. He's like, no, hide that. It was a whole thing. Yeah.
Wow.
And like we went in a storage unit. He fucked me in there. I remember I lost one of my favorite earrings. I had,
That
like,
must
the
have been a
stud
hard
earring.
session, by
It
the
was
way.
yeah, it was. And then the whole time on the way home I was like crying. I'm like, I think I like this.
Like Mike Pence was hot.
Yeah, right. I think
Lindsey Graham
I'm like,
is
that's why I
actually fun.
recognized him.
So I've seen you in so many different types of scenarios, and no matter where you are, at what time of day, you are always 1,000% clean. But like your
Yeah.
first time, nobody taught you how to bottom. How did you kind of learn that process? Like how to be prepared?
I kind of looked it up, and I figured that I use a turkey baster. So I went in the
A turkey
bathroom.
baster?
Yeah, I went.
Well,
in
it's almost
in
that
the
time of
kitchen.
year.
yeah, and I took the turkey baster from my kitchen, and I used that to
Oh my
douche.
God.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
because I didn't know there was a thing. Like
Yeah.
I didn't know how to clean out. I didn't know what to do, and I'm like, I think that's how you do it.
So
A
do
for
you,
effort.
Yeah,
do you like clean out every day just to be prepared?
I do.
Yeah. I mean,
do.
you are always prepared.
I am.
Yeah. You're gonna be like, oh, I'm at the post office. Might as well.
Yeah.
Madame, I am so curious as to how you got into this whole world. Like, what was your first exposure? Is there like a handbook for dominatrix? Like,
Oh man, so I feel so I was out of the closet really early on. So by the time I was 12 years old, I already had a girlfriend, and I was already like defending other people who were coming out of the
12
closet.
years
Yeah,
old.
Wow.
what
man.
happened to us? Like,
I don't know.
Listen, somebody called me out in a gym class, and it was really obvious. I mean, I was so butch.
You only
was-
did it once, though.
Yeah.
I can hear that accent.
Somebody called me out in the middle of gym, and I had to. I was like, it was 7th grade, and I had to make a choice whether or not I was going to bullshit my way through this, or if I was just going to be honest. And the whole
Wow.
reason
Wow.
they were picking on me was because I was in the back of the gym, because I wouldn't get prepared, because I could only get prepared in this locker room, and I'm over here getting aroused while all these girls are taking their clothes off. I'm like, this is not right. Like, they have no idea. So she's picking on me. And I came out. I just said straight up. I said, yeah. She's like, oh, what are you, a lesbian? I was like, yes, I am.
Wow.
I was like, yes,
Wow,
I
yeah.
am.
That is
You got
great.
me.
Yeah.
You fucking got me, bitch.
You want your pussy?
and then
Are we
she's
going to do this or
What do we
not?
do about it
and then she
now?
was like, "Will you dom me?"
Yeah.
So really early on, people always treated me like I was freaky or like I was kinky. I mean, I wasn't even having sex yet, but people were treating me like I was. And so when it came to like other kinky things, I had already jumped over that threshold. I dove in the deep end. So at that point, it was like there wasn't anything. If there was something I was interested in, I understood that, not everybody's going to be comfortable with it. It's not something that I have to share with everybody, but I can find people that are into the things I'm interested in doing, and anything that I'm interested in is okay. And so you know, as I started coming into other kinks, I really didn't care. I was comfortable enough exploring them. Sometimes I get a little uncomfortable, even now at 36 years old. Sometimes there's kinks and things that they make me uncomfortable. I don't really understand why they make me uncomfortable, but I take that as a challenge, you know?
What was the first kinky experience you had in the bedroom? Was it something you set out to do, that you heard about this kink and you wanted to do it, or did something naturally happen?
Well, maybe it kind of all started, maybe my professional career all started with a role-playing scenario. I used to have this game that I would play with this guy that I was in a relationship with, and I would give him like these vouchers that he could redeem, and they had like, you know,
That's super sexy.
You redeem this now, and it has, you know, this activity and that activity. Well, sometimes I had like role-playing scenarios where like, redeem this now, and I turn into Kelly, and you're a photographer, and she's a model, and she's really trying to get on this front cover.
That is detailed.
And you're the only one who can get her there.
You know, things like that.
500-word coupon.
My boyfriend isn't as surprised as when I
Yeah.
get home today.
Yeah.
He's like, how does this happen?
And so we had this scenario where I was, this was his idea, right? Because he realized I'm into this. So he came up with a scenario where I'm a sex worker, I'm a prostitute, and I'm coming to the hotel room. And he sent me on this whole thing, sent me to the stores to get the props and everything. I show up there.
Props are key.
We do the thing. He pays me for real. I loved it. And then I leave, and I come back as, you know, the person I am in real life. And it was so much fun. And then I see hair from the wig. And so I was like, motherfucker, what is this? And then we fought about it. And then we had sex again, and it was great.
Wow. That's amazing. Wow.
That is-
Yeah, that
So,
is
but
such a
it
turn on.
was just-
What
it
was
was
his phone
so
number?
much. It was
I know.
incredible.
Yeah.
It was so much fun. It was a great experience. But I was like, you know, not that I want to be an escort or a prostitute. I decided I wanted to be a dominatrix. But that experience was so much fun. Being paid for a sexual situation was just such a turn on. And I love money. I love money, and I
Who
love
doesn't?
kinks, so it works.
And with Just For Fans, do you find, is that something that you've now gone to a different level? You could now showcase it even more greater. I mean, what's the benefits of it there for you?
I mean, Just For Fans has been fantastic because I get a lot of fans that don't necessarily want to you know, just download my clips, you know, or they don't want to come to have sessions or whatever. So having the membership site is sort of like a hub where I have all my fans, and it's really great because I like the feature that I could send private videos to people. You know, so that gives me an opportunity to make videos custom for them, and I train a lot of my submissives through that. You know, I make videos just for them, and they have to, you know, you have to do XYZ in order to get this video. You do XYZ, you watch this video, then you get the next video.
Wow. Yeah, little gold stars, and you get
Yeah.
more.
Vignettes. And what I love about your site or your profile, Just For Fans, is if you're curious about the world, you can sample and you can kind of go through it. Especially like I learned about you from your interviews first, so I got to see the personality behind it. It was such an exciting mix of seeing like the final product and then kind of knowing about you behind the scenes. How hard is it to make friends outside of your circle? You're very entrenched in the fetish world. You are very entrenched in the LGBT nightlife. It's just kind of what your daily life is. But how hard is it to make, I want to say, real friends that are kind of outside that atmosphere? Or is it even possible?
Yeah, me and most of my friends don't do porn or any of that. Like, generally, I think it's because I developed a lot of my friendships before this. So I think to make newer friends, it is hard because a lot of them don't understand or they don't take what you do seriously.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I still have some friends like that who are like, oh, like, when are you gonna do, like, have a job or do this or do that or have a schedule? I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, this is my life. I've curated everything I love doing, and I make money off of it. Like,
and you sit in
I
the
love my
cubicle.
life. Yeah, and you're complaining about it.
Yeah.
But I think it is hard, and I think just especially in LA in general. I mean, everyone says it's harder to make friends in general.
That is definitely true.
Yeah, and especially doing what I do. I mean, I've noticed a lot of people. Like, sometimes people, I know who they are that come and fuck me, but they have no clue it's me. Then I'll see them out acting all
Eddie,
proper.
they know. I'm just saying that they know. If they've ever seen even your Instagram, they know.
Yeah.
Like, I recognize that.
Or
that
they
thong.
act like they don't know, and I'm like, I'll see you next week. You'll be back because you'll be hitting me up on my other profile that doesn't have my face picture.
Right. Oh my goodness.
Is there a limit for you guys as to have you come to that point where you're like, no, this is at my limit. I'm just not gonna do that. Have either one of you?
Oh yeah, I got all kinds of limits. Some of my limits are a little unusual too, for my world. Like, for instance, I have no problem doing and this is not professionally because this is, it would be illegal for me to do this professionally, but in my personal life, I love prostate play and things like that, but I don't do any strap-on. Strap-on for whatever reason makes me feel uncomfortable and silly in a way that's different than dressing a guy up like a monkey and making him fling pudding towards somebody.
What?
And then I don't there's things like I don't like ashes and things like that. So sometimes I have limits and I'm not really interested in crossing them.
It's funny because a strap-on is something I would just associate automatically with a dominatrix.
That's why I said it was unusual, because it's something that a lot of doms really do, and it's almost like second nature. But for whatever reason, I'm still working out why it makes me feel so silly and in such a, because a lot of the things I do make me feel silly, but they don't make me feel silly in an embarrassed way. You know what I mean? This is a different kind of discomfort that I'm still trying to figure out where it comes from.
Yeah. For me, generally, I feel like the people that hit me up usually already know what I'm into, so they ask for the similar things. But I have had some weird things where people want me to literally beat them up and break their noses and stuff, and I will not do that. I have a thing I can't even hit someone. I can't do it.
You're like a gentle giant. Rawr.
In a way, yeah. Yeah, I don't like pain myself. I like being choked. That's it. Lightly choked. I don't like being spanked. No pain. So but yeah, that's the most uncomfortable thing. I've had it a few times where people want me to literally beat them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never understood that. But in your kind of fetish culture, there's the no loads refused. Do you subscribe to that? Or if they're not a certain size?
I like watching it. Me, it's generally I know I see that I want their body picture and their dick picture, and that's about in their age, just to have an idea. You know what I mean? Because then I build up the fantasy in my head of who they are.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I
and
can't.
That's most of it,
yeah,
right?
and I can't.
Fantasy.
Yeah, because I can't let just anybody come in my house.
So I actually have this question. When I watch your videos and they're opening the
I thought you were
door
gonna ask for
and
his
they're
address.
going through your,
I had that question. What's
Yeah.
your
and
address?
we see your stuff, and then there you
Yeah.
are. Are you never nervous that they're going to take something?
No, not really.
And
I've
heard
never
these
had
horror
anybody take anything. But also, I don't know. It's weird. I get a vibe. I can tell for some reason who someone's gonna be. But it also turns me on. I'm like, is he gonna come and kill me or not?
No, because violence in this situation has increased. We've seen our current social and political environment. Violence towards anonymous hookups with the LGBT community has turned into violence. I mean, it's just increased.
Yeah.
I would be terrified.
Yeah, but that's why I feel like I don't think anyone who comes over is kind of sketchy or anything. That's why I ask for the body picture, dick picture.
It sounds like you do enough recon that if you had to find them, you'd be able to find them.
Because a lot of it is fantasy. I don't literally just want anybody to come in my house. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I know a lot of people do that. And I watch those videos and I'm so turned on.
Yeah.
But I'm I don't think I can just let anybody just walk in my house with the door unlocked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had a couple situations where I had to kick someone out, but I literally
That's so awkward for me, by the way.
This happened last week. You know what I mean? I'm I tell them what the situation is. I'm come in. I'm 10 to 15 minutes, then you go. I don't want you hanging out. I have someone else waiting.
Yeah.
Nope. He's there taking his time, eating me out, just going and going and going. I'm getting mad. I'm getting annoyed. I'm all right, can you wrap it up? Someone else is waiting. He's I drove all the way from Pasadena. He's I've been wanting to do this with you. Blah, blah. I'm I told you what the situation is. I'm you got to hurry up and go. Nope, he didn't. And then he's fine, I'll leave. Gets up as he's getting dressed. He's talking shit to me. I was getting mad. I literally got up and got in his face. He's I'm sorry. My deep voice came out and he just left. He's and then he messaged me. He's I'm so sorry. I won't do that again. But I'm don't worry, please don't come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the only situation I've had. It's always works out amazing. And I have regulars.
And we see, all of that content is on JustForFans. How do you get them to? Do you tell them what you? Do you tell them you're going to be filming? How do you get?
Oh yeah,
a lot
so
of
it's
these...
all pretty much point of view.
Yeah.
The ones that aren't, they know ahead. But generally, my stuff, you don't see the other person's face because it's literally my real hookups. It's not staged. I don't have like ring lights everywhere. No, I'm like, I'm gonna have my phone out because I like genuinely enjoy this. Like, I don't only do it for video.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if you don't mind, like, can you take a video? You can do it with your phone. Just send it to me or airdrop it to me after. So that's why a lot of my fans, I have a lot of like regulars who just continue to subscribe because they said it's real, it looks real. That's why generally I won't plan filming things with people, just because this is what I'm into, it's what I like. Because when I used to do studio porn, it's situations that I was in that wasn't really fun for me, you know. But the final product looked amazing and it built up a fantasy. But for me, it's like I do this enough where it like affects you mentally if you're just thinking of it as work.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's funny because your studio work, that was like when you first entered the business, you have such a different energy. It's like a whole different person.
Because that's what they wanted me to be.
Yeah.
This macho top, only topping all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to top. I topped last time.
You sound like my pets.
Yeah. Literally. Yeah.
So speaking of your pets, I've heard of furries, but I had never heard of people becoming pets, and I started to do research. Is this a newer phenomenon, and what does it exactly mean?
Well, pet plays, it has been practiced for quite a while, but I definitely have, changed up the game a lot. When I first started doing this, first of all, everybody told me I couldn't be successful, specializing in animal play. Everybody, all the top.
It is a very niche.
All the top people in the industry told me to forget it, and I said, you know what? They're not going to take me seriously until they see what I do. And so, I had, it used to be just kitties, puppies, ponies, but I said, My very first animals that I showcased was a griffin, a hyena, and a capuchin monkey. And who else? Oh, and my unicorn. So those are the first 4 animals that I showcased. And, since then I've had all different kinds of animals. But, the idea of being primal is not new to anybody. Okay, the idea of shedding social etiquette is not new to anybody. It's just that I've given people permission to do it in this way. I learned that when you give people permission to do things, the things people do are endless. Okay, I've had all kinds of people say, "Oh, I'm not into this, I'm not into that," but then when they see it, every animal, every play party I'm at, I turn somebody into an animal. Okay, every single time, and they go right into it. I say, I ask them a few questions, I get to know them a little bit, and I say, okay, you're such and such, and this is what you're going to do. And they say, okay, madam, no problem. And they get right into it. If I tell them to bark, they bark. And, it's so much fun. And, I really get to people's personalities and who they are. Like, I don't just randomly say, oh, you're such and such animal. I really try to find characteristics. And so, people feel really seen. And so, they do it, and I love it.
What happens if somebody wants to become a pet and they're just really bad at it?
Well, if they want to become a pet and they're bad at it, that usually means that that's not the proper inner animal. And that actually did happen. Somebody was trying to impress me at a play party, bringing me this guy. They made him into a dog, but they were like, bark. And he's like, bark. He's like, rough. Rough. And so I see him there, and he's standing, and he's in this position. I said, the reason, and I just see frog in him, and I said, he's not a dog, he's a frog. And he comes, he comes
Rub it.
ribbit.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Ribbit. I had him hopping around that whole place. But he was a horrible dog. He was a terrible dog. You tell him to dog, he goes, woof, ruff. We're like, no, that's not a bark. He's like, bark. But I said, and I looked at him, I said, he's not a dog. He's a frog, and he came up with googly eyes.
It just clicked.
Yeah. That's what I'm picturing.
He was immediately ribbiting.
Yeah.
So I said, so that's what it is. You hit that button, and it's like, hello, I'm
We all
here.
have one.
Yes.
You're just finding it. You're bringing it out.
Yeah, absolutely. And so they all get into
See,
it.
you could do it.
Okay, so you've heard me talk, and what animal would you? I'm afraid to ask this question.
I think there may be more questions involved. But let's give it a whirl.
But just what animal do you think I would do a good job at?
Let's see. I think that you'd be just from this meeting you here. I think that you'd be good at a very energetic animal, right? So, what? Maybe a woodland creature? Do you see yourself in the forest or something like that? Usually, I ask a bunch of questions. I have 8 questions that I ask. But would you see yourself in like forest or woods or something?
For sure. Except I don't like bugs, but I love nuts.
Yeah, you love nuts. Okay, so I was actually gonna say something like chipmunk.
Yes.
I thought it was beaver. I thought we were going towards beaver, but it's gonna. Okay. I was in my mind like, it's gonna be a beaver.
Chipmunk vibe from you. You know what I mean? Running up and down.
I think that would be great.
Like that.
Chip and Dale.
And it's actually cute.
Now act it out.
It'd be a cute
And you
chipmunk.
know the chipmunks, they have their tails up a lot of times.
Well, I'm 100% top though.
Oh, you are? Okay.
There you go.
Nobody
That
believes
doesn't
me.
mean you don't have
It's a fact.
He's like, oh,
That doesn't mean you don't have a
let's
good
rethink the
bottom.
animal.
I'm just saying, you know, I mean, maybe the tail up means something else.
Maybe you're just a log.
What do you guys do on your day off? And I know your website I love, by the way, because you it has so many different tabs to see the different parts of your life and the media. And then there's the rules that you have, like you better be on time. I work these hours, these days. What do both of you do when you're not kind of acting out your lifestyle?
I don't know. Do you have a day off? Do you actually take any real time off?
No, I mean, just I go to the gym every day. Like, I just started a TikTok. It's doing well.
He's all doing the dances.
I'm like, yeah, I'm always thinking of like random things to do. I mean, hang out with friends. I mean, I don't.
There's a
my
reason
life
why
is
they're not in
my
office.
life is pretty
Right.
simple outside of this, and I want it to be that way. You know what I mean? I don't do anything crazy.
But it seems to me, because like I said, I follow you on everywhere. It seems like every day is full of this content.
Mm-hmm.
And I know from kind of setting up scenarios like this,
Yeah.
it takes forever because there's the back and forth. There's people who don't show up, and there's people that will talk to you and then never, and then they'll just disappear. It's a lot of work to set up the kind of scenario that you're talking
Well,
about.
yeah. Well, I actually have a lot of people who are like waiting for me to hit them
yeah.
up to come. Like, that's why I have a whole list. That's why I have so many regulars too. And then I'm getting more and more people from Twitter, especially. So many people wanting to fly out just to do it. Just, people want to fly me out to do things. So, I mean, if I wanted to, I could be doing it every single day. But I don't want to. It's because it's a lot of work. It's exhausting. It takes a lot out of you, and the setting up is pretty intense.
Yeah, and I really I'm working on trying to relax more and like actually have a day off. I mean, I say I have days off. Those days, I am in between Muslim and Jewish, so I observe, Friday and Saturday as like days of rest and really trying to get my spirit in place, and I cover my head and I cover my shoulders and the crease between my legs and all that. But I always find myself coming back to work. That's the biggest complaint from my pets is that I work too much and I don't relax enough, because it's like I'm never really off, But, I work out. What do? I work out. I eat a lot.
You eat a lot,
Oh,
Carl?
yeah, I eat a lot.
I want your
eat a lot.
metabolism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what happens when you're in the dominatrix role?
Oh.
That is our rapid fire. We're going to be playing a little rapid fire game. But I want to know, when you're in the dominatrix role and somebody has scheduled a session, and if you're tired, you're not into it, because you kind of have to be into the person a little bit as well. It's not just all being hired to do something. There has to be some chemistry there. What do you do when you're just not in the mood?
I find something to appreciate about the person. I find something to appreciate about the person. It's me not being in the mood is not a good enough reason for me to reject somebody that they've made it that far. If they've made it that far, I don't know how nervous they are. I don't know how detrimental this is to their future. And I take my responsibility very, very seriously. If there's a bad vibe and I don't want to do it because of my safety or some sort of health, then I back it up. But being a professional means that sometimes we got to be a little uncomfortable to provide what we do.
That's true.
That doesn't mean we endanger ourselves, but not all of it's going to be good. So I then prioritize this person's experience because they're coming to me because they trust me. And, if I'm a little uncomfortable, I think that's less important than, making this space for the people. So I find something to appreciate about them.
Now, how do you both kind of set boundaries after the fact? I'm sure in your line of business, people can become fanatics and become stalkers, just wanting your attention and all of
I send them to my JustForFans. I send them to my JustForFans. If you want to talk to me all day, that's no problem. You could talk to me all day, but you're gonna do it through my JustForFans.
Nice.
That's the best thing to do, and that's what I do with them.
So, but with you, like, they know where you live. They know that your door's open sometimes. They know where you work out. Have you ever had somebody that has become, like, stalker level?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've had people do that, but, I mean, not that many people. And my thing is, I feel like it's because I'm not, like, little and stuff. A lot of people are intimidated by me when they see me in actual, like, real life. I think because of what I do, they have this perception of me, and just because of what I wear, like the lingerie and all that stuff, they think of me as like the smaller person, or like my personality, like I can't take care of myself. But I've put many people in their place, and they always step down. Like I've never had someone just continuously like cross the line. Yeah.
How much? At what point does a fetish, or like let's say somebody's addicted to taking loads all day, at what point does it become an unhealthy obsession?
When it harms the person. So there's a difference between pain and harm. You could hurt somebody and not harm them. So like you said, there's people that come to you, they want you to break their nose. That's harmful.
Yeah.
Okay, you need your nose.
Yeah.
Okay, you want me to bruise your nose, you want me to bruise your cheeks, that's fine. You want me to cut your arm off, we can't do that.
Yeah.
So when it starts to become harm, when people are spending their rent money, when people are skipping meals or stealing from their partners or whatever, then it's harmful. If then it's a problem. If it's not causing any harm, and even there's some people that they jerk off all day, but you know what? They got the money to jerk off all day.
Yeah.
Nobody needs them doing anything.
Yeah.
It's when you call out sick and you're like, rah.
Yeah.
So it's it's all a matter of perspectives. If nobody is getting harmed, no other people are getting harmed. If nobody's consent is being violated, if any of the wounds you're gonna heal from, then it's fine.
Yeah. I think it could become an addiction in a way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because I think when I was like younger, I've kind of like went back and forth with that, where I had to be like, oh shit, like I'm doing this over hanging out with friends, over spending time with like family, over doing like I'm just want to do this all day.
Yeah.
And that's when it becomes a problem. I think you got to make sure. To me, it's all balance. Like to me, I won't take every client I get. If I don't feel like doing the client, I'll like tell them, I know I can't see you today. We can plan for another time. I have to really be into it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that's what it's about. It's about a balance. It's about being on the outside looking in a way. You can't let it consume you. You can't let it take over your life, because I mean, I love doing this, but this isn't my whole life. You know what I mean? This is my sexual side, and I got to keep, because when I was younger, like the whole sexual thing, I was, very insecure about it. So it wasn't balanced, but now it's like my sexual side is like way up there. So I'm like, okay, I got to keep it at a balance, make sure I have time to do normal things, hang out with friends, like just do my regular stuff. And that's what keeps me sane and keeps it enjoyable. Like I love doing it. You know what I mean? So that's how you got to keep it.
Well, it's funny. I was talking about my ex and how we set him up. We arrived in Paris, and the first thing was like, let's go on Grindr and let's see what's going on, and let's set him up with a few sessions, and then we'll do that. 6 hours went by because it was so tough to get a regular stream going. Then we thought we missed the tour we were supposed to do.
Yeah,
we were in Paris. We missed the dinner, and it was like 3 a.m. It's like, what the hell did we do?
Oh, I've
today?
done that in so many
Could
cities.
have done this in West Hollywood.
Oh, you West Hollywood, New York, like those are the best cities. You'll get people. There's certain cities you're like, oh, there's nobody here. There's 2 people, 3 people.
Oh my God, it's insane. Okay, so we're gonna play a little rapid fire, and you're gonna laugh at what I did. I ripped up the rapid fire questions.
Oh, because you said no more rapid fire the last
Oh.
time.
Yeah. Here. Oh no, I didn't. Okay, so we're going to see how many rapid-fire questions you can answer in a 1-minute time period, okay? And if it doesn't apply to you, just say...
Are we talking over each other, or are we taking turns? How are we doing?
It's turns.
Okay,
so
okay.
Who wants to go first?
I can go first. It's fine.
Okay. Let us know when we're ready. We have 1 minute.
And bake.
Have you ever hooked up during a family get-together or holiday?
Yes.
Okay, what would you ask Santa for?
Shoes.
Oh, who gave you your first orgasm?
My first boyfriend.
Oh, sweet. Have you ever faked it?
All the time.
Favorite dirty word or phrase to use in bed?
Pussy.
Oh, and he perked up. He was like, yes?
Yes,
oh.
I'm right here, darling.
What's the fastest you've ever come?
2 minutes.
Oh, that's pretty long. 30 seconds.
Aw.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Oh.
Neither.
Ah, how dare you? Get out.
Get out.
Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings?
Lord of the Rings.
Strangest hobby or talent you have?
Have you seen his video?
Looking at feet at the beach.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Least favorite exercise to do at the gym?
Shoulders.
Least favorite body part?
I don't have any.
Oh, okay.
All right.
15. You have to beat 15.
All right.
Oh, 1 minute.
Okay, are you ready?
I'm
Set.
ready.
Go.
Celebrity you'd like to fuck?
Oh, man. I already got Angelina Jolie.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Favorite genre of porn?
CBT.
Oh, interesting. Watch more or less porn during COVID?
More.
Worst ever scenario from your career?
People telling me I couldn't be an animal player.
Oh, okay. What would your drag name be?
My drag name? Madam Beats a Lot.
Oh, yes!
Yay.
This is so good. Most romantic thing you've done for someone?
Nothing. I don't do nice. I buy people food.
Okay. Worst holiday gift you ever received?
Oh, sweaters.
Movie that you could watch over and over?
Seabiscuit and Gone in 60 Seconds.
Oh, my God.
Nice.
Craziest place you've had sex?
Ooh. The back of a movie screen.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
I love that.
with the
That is so
projector.
hot. Favorite part on your own body?
My abs.
First body part you look at on somebody else's body?
Oh. Shoulders.
All right, Mr. Eddy Ceetee, you won, by the way.
Yay.
All right,
Aw.
all right.
That was great.
This has been so much fun and so informative.
Always. Thank you.
I had so many questions.
Thank
too.
you so much for
I
doing
know.
all the research and like looking at my website as much as you did and all that. I really appreciate that. That was great.
No, because, I think the more informative questions that we can ask, and coming from a layman's point of view, I think we're so afraid to offend somebody in today's day and age
for sure,
that we're not
yeah.
asking enough questions,
Yeah.
and then we walk away informed
Yeah.
and making new friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
An ignorant public.
All right, Madame,
Yeah.
tell our audience where you would like them to find you and follow you.
So my Just for Fans is JustFor.Fans/Madame Margherite. And I have a website, MadameMarguerite.com, and I got a clips for sale. That's my studio is 113356.
And it's a great website, by the way. And the clips on Just for Fans, unreal. All right, Mr. Eddy Ceetee.
JustFor.Fans/Eddy Ceetee, and my Twitter, Eddy Ceetee, Instagram, e.ceetee.
And that's Eddie. It's EDDYCEETEE. Well,
Correct.
why is that? Does CT stand for something?
I know it.
No, so
I think I know
So
it.
yeah, so when I moved from
Cocktease.
Lebanon, I lived in Connecticut.
Oh,
So when I moved to Boston,
I did not
yeah,
know that.
when I moved to Boston, was bartending. Everyone would call me CT because they couldn't say my last name. So then I built up a following. So when I did porn, I'm like, I'll just keep this.
Oh, I love that.
I was
Yeah.
right. I guessed that to myself.
Oh, did you?
Like, I would've-
Yeah.
I love that. And Mr. Anthony John?
I'm kidding. Ricky Roman told me.
Oh yeah, because he's from Connecticut
from
too.
Connecticut, too.
Yes, yeah.
And
I'm like, I'm like, wow, I'm impressed. How did you know that?
Hey. What's mine? Oh, I'm reading it. Mr. Anthony John, Mr. Anthony John at Instagram. That's all you need to know.
And you can look me up on Instagram at AlexanderIsOnAir. Send us your questions because we will answer them on air. You can ask. Nothing is off limits. Send an email to events@JustFor.Fans or slide into our DMs on social media. And like I said, we will ask it on air. Make sure you like and subscribe to us on wherever you listen to your podcast. It's been a long day. I've been so excited about this episode. I'm all talked out. I can't wait to go watch some more. Sign up for your free account at JustFor.Fans. Be a part of all this adult goodness that is being produced with fans in mind. Stay healthy, stay sexy. Until next time.
That has been another episode of The Naked Truth, the official podcast for Just for Fans. Sign up for your free account at JustFor.Fans and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at JustForFansite. You never know what's going to happen on The Naked Truth.